Hey, DFS Golf with Tony. I forgot to get one little button. If you're listening on the podcast, you never know. If you're watching the video, you had 18 seconds of darkness. Hopefully you weren't in the dark this week when it came to DFS Golf. I'll tell you what, it was not a great week for me in DFS Golf. Webb Simpson was a killer to a lot of my lineups. Then a lot of my lineups went and said, bang, Webb Simpson, Colin Morikawa. Morikawa had a great day Sunday, but struggled way before that. If you're watching this live DFS Golf with Tony, you can put comments in there, and I'll try to get them as we go along. And if you're watching this on the podcast, thanks for watching. Anytime you can check out my DFS Golf with Tony if you see the video or if you're looking at pictures. If you listen to the podcast, put your like 5 stars and get me all the advanced knowledge you can get, all the advanced love you can get. And this is where we're at this week. Last week was especially tough for all you people in the one and dones. I was doing pretty good in the Mayo Cup. I was in the top 100 going into last week, but Justin Thomas, there was over 270 people with Justin Thomas with 3,300 entries, and that bang, $2.7 million payday for Justin Thomas really kicks in the butt. So I had a guy not make the cut in Webb Simpson, and people had Justin Thomas still in the money, but need to get back at it this week for sure. And we got a big one tonight. You guys are going to get fired up. You're going to get a little excited, right? Well, I don't know if I'm going to get too fired up. We don't have the greatest entry, right? Not the greatest field of all time. But we can still wager on it. We can still play fantasy. So we got to win. It's the Honda Classic. The Honda Classic, not a big course, a challenging course. A lot like the Players' Championship this week, where you didn't need the big drives, but it helped. This one's a little different. We only have 2 par 5s. And I'll tell you what, I was doing a little research this week, and I read the greatest testimony to this course. And here's where I'll give it to you. It says the Champions Layout at the PGA National, 7,104 yards of venom, a king cobra of a course that rises without warning to strike down the world's best golfers. Snake charmers may have a better chance of taming it than the players at the Honda Classic. It's going to be a doozy. And not the elite golfers, right? They've played for a couple weeks. We got the Masters coming up, so a lot of people took off this one. So what are we looking at, Tony, and what kind of statistics should we be keying on? I'm going with strokes gained tee to green, birdies or better percentage, strokes gained approach, par 4 scoring, scrambling, greens in regulation, and strokes gained putting is where I'm going. And I'll start off with this. If you're playing one and done, I'm going with the guy at the top of the heap. The guy with the biggest price on DraftKings this week. It's not a guy that will ever say that again, that he has the highest price tag. But he does this week at the Honda Classic. And it tells you the field that we've got here at the Honda Classic. He's a PGA golfer, right? And he's got a shot at winning. He actually has the best shot at winning. But when I look at Sungjae Im, and I'm looking at $11,000 on DraftKings, I'm putting him in my one and done. But I don't think I can go there at $11,000 and throw him in the top of my lineup. In fact, I'm thinking he won't be that early. He won't be that owned. He'll be one of the guys left out in the cold. He'll be one of the guys left out in the cold. I bet you're going to get somewhere 15% ownership on Sungjae Im this week. So we'll give you that opportunity to actually go with an $11,000 golfer, throw him at the top of your lineup, and bang him out there. So jump on it. Jump all over it if you want. If you feel good on Sungjae Im, go ahead and grab it. Jonathan Mathis, you're still the man. Thank you very much. And hey, people get crazy all the time. You never know what's going to happen there. So you guys want to fire comments about the golf DFS? We got you covered this week. First place I'm going to go, I gave you the legwork. We're going to do the categories we're going to juggle and how we're going to go about it. And I'll tell you what, strokes gained tee to green, birdie or better percentage, stroke gain approach, par 4 scoring, scrambling, greens and regulations, strokes gained putting. Now, you got to weigh these separately. Like strokes gained putting, a lot of people don't pick knowledge and go after putting a lot in their models and when they put statistical information in there. Some courses are harder. Sometimes putting is more important. But the bottom line is you either make your putts or you don't, right? Some people are great putters. Rory McIlroy is a guy that I can't stand having on my teams because every time I watch this guy miss routine putts, it drives me insane. Now, if you go through your whole golf life not putting Rory McIlroy in your lineup because he's not a good putter, it's probably not a great idea, right? He makes up in other areas. He gets on a little roll, and bang, he jumps all over it. So I put my statistical model out there. And when I came out, the best player on this course is actually the guy that DraftKings has at $11,000, Sungjae Im. I could not go there at $11,000. I'm going to go down the field one spot, and I'm going to jump to $8,600. $8,600, Cameron Davis. Now, he is 6th out of this field at tee to green, 22nd in par 4 scoring. Birdies or better gained, he is 5th. In the other categories, he rounds out 35th, 59th, and 42nd. Comes up number 2 in the model, $8,600. I am absolutely going to throw him in there. Cameron Davis. He's a guy that I think the DFS community loves. But the last couple times they've gone that way, he hasn't come through. So a lot of DFS players feel scorned at times and won't put him in the lineup. But I'm going to be honest with you, I think he'll be well owned because of the limited field this week. So I think people will go back to the well one more time. I'm going back to the well because I feel like he's a good value at $8,600, coming second in our model. Next up, Ryan Moore. It's interesting. You don't have a lot of times when you're going Ryan Moore. Limited field. He checks all the boxes. He's actually number 4 in our model. 21st shots gained tee to green, 18th par 4 scoring. Birdies are better, 39th. Gains in regulation, gained 19th and 18th. Of course, and finishes out 68th in putting. So where he's hurting is putting. I only put 7% of my lineup's value into putting. So I skip down, and Ryan Moore comes up a little higher than if you look at putting and you take that number and you account for that to 15, 10, 20%. I go 7% there. Next guy on the list I don't have in my lineup is Daniel Berger, who is 5th in my model. To be honest with you, if you're playing one and dones this week, I like Sungjae Im and I like Daniel Berger, and those are the only 2 that I'm using in one and dones this week. Next guy in my lineup is an older gentleman, and he's a cheaper gentleman, and he's a guy that's had some success, but he's been on this PGA Tour for 20 plus years. Rory Sabatini. Rory Sabatini comes in 8th in the model, right? 62nd strokes gained tee to green, but 3rd strokes gained par 4. 3rd, 15th birdies are better gained. Greens in regulations, 22nd. Again, Rory struggles on the putting. We go and we hope these putts go in, but we're right there in the rest of the numbers. $7,200, Rory Sabatini. There's not many times you can be excited about getting Rory Sabatini, but at $7,200 in a field like this, we're giving it a whirl. Next up, He's a good golfer. He's a really good golfer. He drops down to number 12 in our model, but he could win this thing. Joaquin Niemann, 10,400. If we go back 2 months, he absolutely was getting it done. I take the last 24 rounds when I put together my lineup, the last 24 rounds. Joaquin Niemann, second, shots gained tee to green. 23rd, par fours. Birdies are better, 47. 13 greens in regulation. And again, putting, he falls off 73rd. So this is where my numbers might be a little different than your numbers on that one. Let's see some of the comments that we got going on. Somebody, Jonathan Danger Cole. Of course, you can check out his shows right here at iLogic Media. Everything going iLogic Media. These guys have some great golf games. They get ready for fantasy baseball season. They've got whiskey and history going on, and they can jump all over it. Jonathan Danger Cole says, Cam Davis going to break my heart again. It might happen, but in this field, we're going that way. Well, another comment. Joaquin Niemann. Joaquin Niemann, my boy this week. And I told you my love for Joaquin Niemann at 10,400. And you can go there. It comes up number 12 in my model. It's funny. At number 14 in my model is not a guy in my lineup, though. Doug Gim. We saw Doug Gim play very well until Sunday last week. And it'll be interesting to see if that deters people from putting in the lineup or if it has people go back to him. Now, last is a guy in my lineup that's at number 10 that actually withdrew. So I had a guy all ready to go in the lineup. So now I'm stuck with giving you 5 guys. Or do I go off the cuff and say, Tony, what do you do now, Tony? Your guy withdrew from the lineup. I was all ready and raring to go, and my guy withdrew. And you know what's crazy about these withdrawals, right, is that we look at Patrick Cantlay, right? He withdrew a couple weeks ago, and then we was going, do we jump on him? How long do we go in it? It was a stomach situation, right? Everybody has a little tummy ache. Oh, it's not the end of the world. Do we put him in our lineup? Man, the carnage this week, guys like Cantlay, Rory McIlroy, not making it. It was absolutely insanity not making the cut this week and killing a lot of people in one and dones and how to go about it. My last guy that I have in my lineup this week is Doc Redman. Redman comes in 10th in my lineup, $7,100 this week on DraftKings. I've used Doc Redman a couple times where I thought he set up nice and he didn't come through, and other times I've avoided him, and we see Doc Redman come through. Now, Redman is a guy that's second in par 4 scoring in this field. Birdies are better, gained 23rd, 7th greens in regulations. Absolutely terrible putting. Again, you're seeing how I'm going about it. I'm taking guys that hit the ball well with the irons, that play par 4s well, shots gained tee to green well. I'm a little lax on the putting, and you should be too. Now you're going to say, Tony, if I make this lineup, should I put all 5 or 6 guys that struggle in the putting, or should I try to get a balance and get 1 or 2 putters in there? Well, you could look at it like that, and that's probably the safe way to go about things. But you got to remember is we're getting a discount on some of these golfers, and we think they're undervalued because of some flaws in their game. And when you play fantasy sports, it's always about creating value. So remember, if there's a guy that's a little cheaper and a discount, there's a flaw there, right? I think there's a flaw in an $11,000 golfer in Sungjae Im. He's the number 1 in my model, right? 16th shots gained tee to green, 4th in this field in par 4 scoring. He's 18th in birdies are better. Greens in regulation, he's right there, 38th. Scrambling gain, 8th. Shots gained putting, 4th. So shots gained putting puts Sungjae Im right there at the top, but I'm going to avoid him. So again, here's my lineup this week. Doc Redman, $7,100. Rory Sabbatini, $7,200. Then we go Ryan Moore, $7,300. So 71, 72, 7,300. And then we spend a little money. We go Cam Davis. Cam Davis at $8,600, $9,200 for Shane Lowry. I'm a big Shane Lowry guy. This guy shows up and plays big in the harder courses and also in bad weather conditions. He always seems to play well. And he's a guy that I would even consider once we get to that British Open. It looks like it'll happen this year, right? And then Joaquin Niemann is actually going to round it out at $10,400. My name's Tony. This is DFS Golf with Tony. Make sure you check out all the shows on iLogic Media. If you go to iLogic Media Facebook page, there is something that you will like. They got cooking shows. They have sports shows. They have drinking shows. They got giveaways. They got video game shows. You're one of them gamers. Are you a gamer? When I played video games, we had to use a joystick. Yeah, we had to go. Now you don't need a joystick, right? Heck, pretty soon you can put on these weird glasses. It'll simulate your thoughts for you. It'll tell you you're running around the jungles of Africa. Tony Cincotta, DFS Golf with Tony. You have my lineup this week. Go ahead, put it down in all your head-to-heads. Put it down in your single entry. Shane Lowry, 9,200. Cameron Davis, 8,600. Ryan Moore, 7,300. Rory Sabatini, 7,200. Joaquin Niemann, 10,400. And Doc Redman, 7,100. That ends it. DFS Golf with Tony. Put you like the show. Give me 5 stars. And we'll see you next week. Go and make some money.